Now it's time for us to take to the stars and fulfill our destiny.
Destiny has finally arrived, and we've spent the last couple of weeks eagerly exploring it. It's the epic sci-fi role-playing first-person shooter that promises to seamlessly blend both multi and single-player into some kind of not-quite MMO cooperative shootathon.
It's also Bungie's first game since 2010, and their first non-Halo game since 2001. Not to mention they've been promising us the stars with this game from day one. So safe to say our expectations were very high.
Let's go through some of the basics. So, as with any RPG, first things first, you create your character and choose their class.
Hex, I remember during the alpha complaining that I was unable to make a creepy looking character, but I found a way. Behold, the space clown. A hero is born.
There are many tales told throughout the city to frighten children. Lately, those tales have stopped. The children are frightened anyway.
Noticing a bit of a clown theme with you lately. Why is that? That's so creepy.
It just makes me happy.
Yes, well, character creation is still quite limited in my opinion, but I did appreciate the variety of hairstyles. After you've created your character, they pretty much drop all of the story on you.
The Traveler and its arrival changed us forever.
Mostly because after the intro, there's barely any story told. Throughout the game, there's only a handful of pretty dull cutscenes.
You're interesting. Not entirely interesting.
There's barely any memorable events, and no characters that you ever get to know well or even care about.
Who are you?
Why have you been watching us?
I don't even have time to explain why I don't have time to explain.
And most of the information is delivered to you via in-game chatter from your ghost, aka Game of Thrones Peter Dinklage.
Up the hill, the building with the radar. That's the Skywatch.
I'm a big fan of Peter Dinklage, and at first I thought he would be a great choice for this, but now I'm not so sure, Hex. He just sounds so bored all the time.
Up ahead, a ridiculously large Vex emission. Sounds like what we're looking for.
Yeah, I have a theory that maybe he was directed that way to sound robotic, but you know, characters like Wheatley, which are really similar sort of AI companions, they prove that robots can have heaps of personality.
Yeah, this is true. I don't know, I just felt like he was taking me out of the game a little bit because he's also so recognizable from Game of Thrones. Felt like Tyrion was there just talking to me all the time.
Signal dropped. I got some broken coordinates. Venus, Northern Hemisphere. Ishtar region.
Ultimately, I didn't mind his performance. It just annoys me when so much of the story is delivered through that in-game dialogue.
I do think the setup and backstory is interesting though. This feels like a universe full of stories waiting to be told. They're just not told with this game, at least not yet.
Well, speaking of the backstory, essentially, modern-day humans discovered this strange space sphere known as the Traveler on Mars. What it is exactly is a mystery. Is it a big alien ship, some sort of floating computer, perhaps even a god? Whatever it is though, it helped humanity enter a long golden age where we broke our earthly bonds and colonized new planets.
But it clearly neglected to mention to anyone that it had an ancient enemy known as the Darkness that would follow in its wake and nearly wipe humanity out of existence.
This darkness found us.
So this ball can advance our society immeasurably, but fails to mention to anyone about the looming apocalypse?
Thanks, stupid jerk
Yeah,
ball.
what a jerk ball. Story aside, let's get to what this game does very well. The gameplay, the shooting and looting, is fan-bloody-tastic.
Yeah, it's pretty much perfect. Combat is super satisfying, the way enemy shots all give you that little chance to sidestep them.
Hey, thank you very much.
While they all pop and crumble when you nail their weak spots. And you double jump around the place, launching off super attacks, slinging grenades, and getting up close and personal with solid melee hits. It was a satisfying, deadly dance that I just never tired of.
Hex, I could watch numbers fly off enemies' heads all day. I just love it.
I'll take out this tiny drone, or you take on the big guy. How does that sound?
I got him.
Oh, good.
There's some great variety to the enemies too, with 4 different alien species. each with a unique hierarchy of soldiers and tactics that go along with it. Like the Vex, a crowd of Terminators that don't stop advancing until you put them down. And the Cabal are just a big bunch of walking tanks that might look slow, but will jetpack all up in your grill. Each encounter feels meticulously designed too, always keeping you on your toes and throwing curveballs at you just when you think you're safe.
Ooh, nice orb.
Thanks.
Oh, ow, 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 ow. Oh dear.
I don't necessarily think they had the same kind of charm and character that Halo's Covenant had, though. I mean, there was none of that kind of endearing chatter that I noticed. But they work together and are just as much fun to fight.
I never think these bullets are going to hit me, and they've got that slight bit of homing on them. Damn. We can do this, Hex. We can do this. Oh dear, I'm just going to hide back here for a little bit.
Yes.
And the progression rewards and loot are perfectly paced out. You're always leveling up something or striving towards reaching the requirements to use that next gun or equip that new armor.
The game's quite reserved at handing out loot, isn't it? But I quite like that, and I was surprised that I like that. Each mission maybe gets you 1 or 2 new pieces of gear to work with, but that means everything feels much more significant when you get it.
Oh, loot, 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 loot. Loot, 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 loot. Loot. No. I can't get to it. I can't get to it.
I think I got it.
I think it's shared loot anyway.
They've just nailed that drip feed of gear, haven't they? I haven't got any legendary stuff yet, but I wanted.
The guns feel really good too, although I was a little bit disappointed that they're all based off existing human weapons. I mean, everything's either a pistol, a shotgun, a rifle, or a rocket launcher.
Yes, the most exotic weapon is the fusion rifle, which is kind of like a long-range shotty that you have to charge up. That's cool and all, but I want what the aliens are using. Give me some plasma weapons, Bungie.
Well, no doubt some of those late-game legendary and exotic weapons will spice things up a bit.
Let's talk about how you get around this universe. At any point, you can bring up your ghost and launch into orbit, and from here you can choose which mission to launch into next.
And as you progress through the story, you'll unlock missions on Earth, the Moon, Venus, and finally Mars. There's also a free roam patrol option where you can run around and do little missions or just explore.
The echo chat is really cool in here.
Isn't it?
It's like we're pooping in cubicles next to each other.
Free roam is also where random public events happen, which offer up some fun little missions like taking on a big boss or something a bit different.
All right, ready if you are.
Each planet has a large area to explore, but even so, it's just 4 levels to play around in. Just 4, come on. There is a 5th area on the map, but that literally just had a cutscene in it, which was a bit of a cruel tease. For a sci-fi game that sounded so epic and expansive, for there to only be 4 levels feels a bit small.
Yeah, I was really disappointed. That said, at least all of those areas are super beautiful. I mean, the art and the lighting and the time of day effects, so many slow pans, Bajo. It's a feast for the eyes.
It's also a feast for the ears. The sound effects pack such a punch, and I never got tired of hearing those sparrows boost around the place. Speeder bikes make me happy. Give me speeder bikes, and I will buy your game.
What you doing there?
Well, watch it. Oh,
Let's
no!
try. Oh. Hey, let's see if I can ride it.
I'm just trying to make you go off the edge.
Hey.
And I can't speak highly enough of the music either.
Yeah, it's pretty much faultless from a technical perspective, isn't it? And for an always online MMO, it launched pretty much without incident, and I don't think I encountered any bugs. It's super slick.
Yeah, and that's no small achievement. There's a lot of polish.
Okay, back to my gripes. Didn't you feel like all the missions felt really similar? I mean, they all involve going somewhere, deploying a ghost, and fighting off a few waves of enemies and maybe a boss type character. There was one cool mission where you got a sweet sword, but that was about as different and diverse as the gameplay got. The combat is satisfying enough to make them all fun, but it's just a bit uninspired.
Yeah, I was expecting more variety. Where are the big set-piece battles? There's not even that many vehicle sections. You often deploy your Sparrow to get around, but it's rare that you find any vehicles with guns on them to use.
Oh, is this your bike? Is this your bike?
Oh, come on, I took out that bad guy for you. Hi!
Hi, we brought our bikes. We brought our bikes. Hi. Excuse me. Oops.
It was not graceful, but it was efficient.
I think variety is something that Destiny is just lacking in general.
Yeah, me too, and I don't think it's just the hype getting to us.
Yeah, I mean, there's very little outside of just shooting and looting. I mean, where's the option to go inside my ship and deck it out with trophies and loot? Or, you know, the little mini games or racing modes? And why can't I ever fly my ship? Ah!
Yes, I demand space combat.
Dog.
Still, at least there's room to make your own fun a bit. We managed to get an impromptu game of Duck Duck Goose happening at one point,
Oh, this is lame.
as well as a game of Red Light, Green Light.
Quietly.
Red light. Some sexy slow-mo walking. Soccer.
Here she goes to the bars. Going for the bars. I don't know any sports terms, but she's going.
And whatever this was.
Hey guys.
For a game that's kind of an MMO, I wish there were a bunch of official side activities just to mix things up now and then.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely expect people to be happy replaying through stuff a lot. Once you finish the campaign and hit level cap at 20, all you can really do is just replay the 20-odd regular missions and co-op strikes that are available.
Well, to be fair, there are strike playlists that send you through strikes at high levels. And they mix things up by chucking harder enemies at you. There are also daily missions too.
Yeah, I mean, they help keep it feeling a bit fresher, but then you're still just replaying the same missions, aren't you?
Yeah. Although the first high-level 6-person raid only went live as we recorded this review, so we couldn't check that out properly. But we've heard they're quite epic. And I think Bungie will constantly be fiddling and adding new stuff for those who want to come back to the game regularly.
Speaking of those raids, though, it's frustrating that they won't offer matchmaking for it. I mean, having 5 other friends who are all on that platform at a high enough level and online at the same time is going to be a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, I guess it's because they want people to work together as friends, and they are going to be quite challenging, but still, just put matchmaking in.
There are, of course, a bunch of PvP options, and these are tucked away in what's called the Crucible and offer up 4 deathmatch and capture variations.
Alpha Team, destroy your enemies.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like the most interesting array of modes.
Zone A's captured. It's yours.
They're fun enough, but it's just nothing we haven't seen before. I was expecting more objective-based modes.
Once again, it's a pretty limited competitive multiplayer offering all up. With just the 4 basic modes by default and no real skill-based matchmaking anywhere or any way to make custom games, I mean, it's hardly going to position itself as the next great competitive game.
No, but it does play quite differently to other shooters, and that's a good thing. And it's one of the best next-gen games that are out at the moment. But we should wrap this up. Final thoughts, Hex?
I'm a little bit torn on this one, Bajo. I mean, it just does the core mechanics of shooting and looting so well that I couldn't help but have fun. But then it missed that opportunity of a truly great story, and the wider world felt quite hollow and sterile. I think this universe needed a little bit more for me to truly fall in love with it, so I'm giving it 7.
I feel like we've been a little bit negative with this game, Hex, but it's only because this is a Bungie game, so our expectations were super high based on what Bungie have done before. But if you put that aside, I think this game is still pretty incredible, and it taps into that thing that makes the Borderlands series so good, you know, that compelling need to keep playing and get the next piece of gear. I'm going to give it 8.5.
Action.
Happy to